So I came across these little pots online. I bought them, and I figured I could make some plants out of them, some meat plants. And I got a little piece of wood to put it on so it's a little more stable. So that's what I'm going to try and do here. I deleted all the sound out of this video, so I'm not sure. I can't remember what I was saying there. But anyway, that's basically what I'm saying is I'm making a meat plant out of this pot. So first things first, I want to cut a wire long enough as I want it to be, put some foil into the pot so I don't have to use as much clay, and mash it down in there so it'll stay. And now I'm wrapping a smaller wire around a big wire so the clay will stick better. If you just stick it to a wire without another one wrapped around it, the clay likes to move around and not adhere very well. So I'm using Super Sculpey for this, the beige, and I'm basically just putting it on the wire. I really don't know exactly what this thing's going to look like, so I know it wants to have a mouth at the top, so I put some foil there and started fleshing out around and filling in over top of the foil with clay. So now it's basically looks plant-like, so I decided it needed to be a little wider, so I added a snake of clay and blending it in for like a lip maybe. So I was trying to figure out whether the mouth was going to go over top or around the bottom. So I decided to make the top of add to the top of the thing and not the bottom. And I'm making it, I don't know, I guess this could kind of look like an orchid. So I'm just smoothing it all out and making it look kind of like a mouth. I guess kind of go little Venus flytrap kind of with it, but the top of the mouth isn't wide enough for a Venus flytrap. So I'm going to make it look like it had a throat. So I'm digging out some clay out of the middle there to give it a, somewhere where things go when it eats them. A lot of this is staring at the thing and figuring out which way I want to go with it. So I want to put some texture in the mouth, so I gave it a, I guess it's not really a tongue, but it's, I don't know, a ridge down the middle of the bottom of the mouth there. I'm just adding to each side to make it look more symmetrical. Then I decided, well, maybe I'll have some tentacle things on the side with some spikes on them. And I decided I didn't like that, so I took them back off. Now I'm bulking out the body a little bit to give it a little shape at the bottom. I need to make something down there to make it look like he's sitting inside the pot there and just kind of chilling. So I gave him a little arm looking thing, or a little shoot off of the main plant. Now I'm going back through and adding some texture in the bottom of the pot. It's kind of it's his body down in there, so I'm giving him some wrinkles here and there, things like that. I must say I did a little better on this video, to where I kept the actual project I'm working on in the camera view for the most of the time, so I did a little better on this one. But this project only took me a couple of hours to complete. So I decided maybe I wanted some horns or some sort of horn on the top of the head, give it a little more character. I didn't like the first one, and I don't like that one either. So I figure I'd take them off, and I'll just pinch out some spikes down the back. So I'm just kind of manipulating the clay to look like spikes going down the back. I like that a little better. And now I'm rolling out some really tiny, these wouldn't be, because they're so small, they wouldn't be snakes of clay, more like worms of clay. I'm putting them around all over the body, make look like veins. And I just keep adding them till I think it looks good. And make sure that they curve in and out and they're not straight. They look very organic and they're doing whatever they need to do. And this part is I like putting the veins on there, but smoothing them in everywhere is tedious. So this part's not the most fun part. My camera focus likes to go in and out, in and out. I'm not sure what is it focusing on. On a lot of these veins, I only sometimes, or a lot of them, I only smooth in one side, and I want the other side to be, looks like it's like hanging over. I think at one point in this video, what I was talking about, I'm a clumsy sculptor, where he fell over at one point. I don't think it did any damage, but there are times I'll be working on the thing and I'll knock it over, reaching for something, and smash whatever I was working on. Those are always fun. Or you're working on something and manipulate it in your hand, and you're looking at the other side of it, and when you set it down, you notice your thumb smashed everything that was on the other side. Those are the cool parts that don't make it in the video. All right, now I'm trying to give some skin texture. If you look at skin, you have wrinkles and lines everywhere. So I got a piece of, just a piece of plastic. I think this was a Ziploc bag that I cut a piece out of. And if you use a piece of plastic while making these lines, you don't dig that far into the clay. You don't have to smooth it out. It gives a nice indentation, a nice smooth indentation. So that's why I'm using plastic to do this. The only things that happen sometimes is if you use too sharp of an instrument to make these lines, you cut through the plastic and now you're cutting into the clay anyway. So you got to be a little gentle on some things. You just kind of drag it across and crisscross here and there, trying to make it look like skin. I don't think I have it on here, but then you can go back over it with a brush and put some dimples and some holes in there, like some pores. Just kind of stipple it in there with a wire brush tool, like a toothbrush or something like that. The other difficult part about doing it like this is doing the little tiny areas. You need to get texture on a little tiny area that's sticking up, like the very top of the mouth. But when you start doing that, you start squashing it, start deforming it. It's not the same shape. And this isn't sculpey firm to where it holds its shape a little better. It's a little more soft. So when you start doing things like that, it deforms. Like you see when I put the teeth in the top here, it kind of deforms. And then these forceps, I mean, they usually work really good for smaller teeth, but the bigger teeth, it didn't work so well this time. So what I'm doing is I got some bacon bond off to the left there, and I'm dipping the tip of the part of the tooth I want to stick in. I dip it in the bacon bond because the teeth are already cooked, and that way they stay in there. There are times when if I don't do that, later on the tooth will fall out if I just stick it in there without using bacon bond. Sometimes the teeth will come out, and I just have to super glue them back in, or add bacon bond and bake it again. Now, I probably should have done this part before I put the teeth in. I decided I forgot to texture the inside of the mouth, so here I am trying to texture the inside of the mouth without knocking the teeth out or getting the teeth pushed out of alignment. I can't fit the plastic in there, so I just have to do it without the plastic, freehanding it. It works making lines without the plastic also, but sometimes I dig too deep of a trench into the clay. There he is. He fell over there, but he was all right. Here you go. Here's a slow-mo look at some of the textures on him. He's got all the wrinkles, got some veins. He's got a little arm there hanging out over the side. He's looking for food. His mouth kept closing, so I stuck a piece of foil in there before I baked him to make sure the mouth stays open. I've done that before where I think something will stay where it's supposed to stay, and then after they're in the oven it drooped and fell down. Using those same techniques, this is the other plant I made. He's a lot bigger. It's a bigger pot. But using these techniques for the smaller thing, you can just go wild with it and put all kinds of cool stuff in there. I did have video of me painting a small one. He's painted just like this one. I painted him at the same time, but I don't know where the footage of that went to. The little strands of saliva on this is UHU glue. I just put a little bit of it on a paper plate, and then using a toothpick I just started touching teeth and pulling it and moving it and pulling it and moving it, and that's how you make the saliva on there. Well, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.